Hi, I'm John from What Mountain Bike magazine, and this is Guy Kestevan, the bike test editor for What Mountain Bike, MBUK and BikeRadar. So we're here in Spain and we're just putting the finishing touches to our Trail Bike of the Year test for 2015. We had a lovely leisurely cruise over courtesy of Brittany Ferries, very nice. And we're in the process of whittling down a list of 25 of the best trail bikes on the market. First of all down to a top 10 and then down to our eventual winner. So Guy, can you take me through the process of how we go from our long list to our short list to our really short list and then to a winner?
We started hitting the trail. I started actually hitting the trails on bikes from the short list about 6 months ago, when 2015 bikes started becoming, production bikes at least, started becoming available. But the selection process starts a lot earlier than that. We're seeing bikes for what will become the next season from June onwards. So we'll be seeing 2015 bikes and riding them from around June 2014. And a lot of these bikes we've got prior art with. We've been riding derivatives or ancestors of these bikes for a long time. I mean, one of the top rated bikes here, the white T129, was actually Trail Bike of the Year winner in 2013. And other bikes share a lot of suspension history or chassis history. There's a massive accumulation of data over the years.
So we usually have sort of like bikes based on their performance in previous years that they might have been refined or tweaked slightly, and we always make sure to include those, but then we also make sure we go out and test a lot of other bikes, because there hasn't been a year where we've just gone, oh, it was the bike we thought it was going to take it. It's always been a bit of a surprise. There's always been something that's really surprised us that's come out of nowhere. And the exact opposite, a lot of things that we're sure are going to be dead certs, we don't even make into the top 10. So we should probably explain the criteria behind our Trail Bike of the Year. First of all is the price. Obviously it's the most important thing for many people. If you don't have more money to spend, then you simply don't, and you want to get the best bike that you can for that amount of money. So our price ranges from I think around £2,500 up to £3,100. It's simply because this price point is where we feel you kind of get your most bang for your buck. You can spend more if you like and you will get a better bike, or you can spend less, but it's really within this price range that you start to find the sort of like it's where value for money starts to really hit with performance.
It also gives us enough choice between different bikes. I mean, we've got carbon frames here, we've got alloy frames here, we've got top of the range suspension components, you know, up to full factory spec Kashima Gold components, right through to fairly basic RockShox suspension, for example, on the Santa Cruz Solo. It's a good price point at which you can see who's doing a lot of groundwork, who's doing a lot of component testing themselves, who's riding stuff rather than just, at £5,000, it's quite hard to make a bad bike. You will have a really good wheel set on there and you pretty much have your pick of suspension, and that almost masks the basic performance of the bike. The final shortlist ended up as 25 bikes. From the bikes that were available at the time. There are a few bikes that couldn't make it due to availability problems. We haven't got YT and we haven't got Canyon, and NS just missed out with their new Snab bike, which is a shame.
The point is that we are testing them head to head, so we're not kind of going, we rode that bike 2 months ago, we'll sort of go how we thought about it then. It is that we bring them all to the same place. We ride them against each other, so back to back, and then at the end of it we'll have a few arguments, and hopefully at the end we'll come out with the bike that we all believe is the best bike for the money.
One of the cornerstones of the way we test on the magazine, I think what gives it its depth, its accuracy and its context. We will always test bikes head to head. When it comes to comparing on the testing that we're doing, nothing beats literally riding one trail on one bike and either then making small adjustments to that bike and riding it again, or chucking the bike to John, and then I'll jump on the bike John's been riding and we'll hit exactly those trails again.
Also works very well to kind of filter out personal preference, because obviously I have a personal preference, Guy has a personal preference, but when we can do that we can sort of like look at the pros and cons of each side. We can actually kind of draw it out into an overall performance. We can say, right, that bike has a slight edge to that side for that person. Yeah. So they might come out with the same score, but actually when you read a review, we will actually kind of go, if you're this sort of rider, this bike is probably more for you. If you're this sort of rider, this bike's more for you. They still might be both, you know, absolutely superbly performing bikes, but it really is in the detail that we're sort of pulling out by doing this.
We say it every year, but the bikes we've tested this year have been more enjoyable, more capable. Even in the more affordable formats, you're getting a lot more bike for your money this year than you were last year.
When you do this year in, year out, you can actually tell there are concrete performance differences. It might only be something very small. It might be they've used a new damper in that fork, or they've used a different tyre on that thing, or they've just tweaked the frame a bit. But it's very easy to actually tell that there is sort of forward progress. And I think if you put, say, the winner of 2, 3, 4 years ago up against in this pack, I imagine it probably wouldn't be there.
If you do look at the winner from 2 years ago, which was the white T129, which is likely, which is doing well this year again. The bike then had a RockShox Reba fork. This year it's got a RockShox Pike fork.
Trail riding is like a big wide world of sort of like it's a very large spectrum for everything from sort of what you think people enduro racing to people just doing pure long distance cross country. But we're trying to pick the bikes that we feel kind of encompass the best of it, which is like the essence of a trail bike. It's a bike that can do anything.
Every year we've done this, we've raised more questions. By the end, we might have found our Trail Bike of the Year winner, but we've actually raised more questions about what the next Trail Bike of the Year winner might be, or where mountain biking's heading. And that's essentially what forms the structure of the magazine. It's what keeps us interested, and we hope it's what keeps you interested as well.